Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review. Tonight's movie, Dreamin Wild. Don't know how it popped up. I never do, right? But, I don't know, something made me add it to my wish list. Even though, as I read it again, I remember reading it the first time. So I'm going to share it with you. It's about musical duo, Donnie and Joe Emerson, right? And they spent everything they have to produce a record in the 1970s. As soon as I read that, I think of Donnie and Marie Osborne, because it is I think it's a boy and a duo. I think it's a male and a female, like Donnie and Marie. So I'm like, this is like the story of Donnie and Marie, because they're in the 1970s. I think is when they started singing. Well, my sister was a big Donnie Osmond fan. But anyway, but I had it on my list, and okay, I was looking for something to watch. Walton Goggins is in it. Okay, Zooey Deschanel isn't it? I'm like, okay, piqued my interest. And I scroll a little bit. Chris Messina, alright. Casey Affleck is in this. So I'm like, okay, now wait a minute. Beau is another one. And I'll stop there. I'm sure other people will show up. Maybe not. But now it's a 6.6 on IMDb, which is very high for the kind of movies I watch. However, only 502 people rated it so far. So, I don't know. Biography, drama, music, it's telling me. It's Donnie and Marie. It's got to be. And it's an hour and 51 minutes. So, stick around. I'll let you know. I'll be back. Hey, everybody. We're at the credit to Dreamin Wild. No check-in again. You know, mixed emotions about this. Started off pretty good. And I was actually in a state of confusion. So, the movie's really taking place in, like, 2011. Like, I'm watching him with his wife Zooey Deschanel. This is Casey Affleck, and with Zooey, their husband and wife. They got 2 kids, getting them up, getting ready to go to school. And I'm looking at the everything that's around, and I'm like, this is not the 70s. The phone they pick up and stuff like that. It's like no cell phone, but still, I was like, I don't get it. I had to go back and look. And so, like, what is going on now? It starts off with him. He owns a production studio, a music studio or whatever, and trying to make ends meet with his family, so they're struggling a little bit. And him and his wife do have, like, a little band together that they play at weddings. And then he gets this call from his brother. So, I was wrong. It's not Donnie and Marie. It's really about the Emersons. It's, I guess, a true story, and because they show the Emersons at the end. But him and his brother are the Emersons, and his brother calls and says, hey, somebody wants to talk about an album that they made. So that back in the 70s, when they were 15 and 17 years old, they made this album called Dreamin Wild. Somebody who, you know, does this for a living says, hey, we try and, you know, find undiscovered artists and people who've been passed by and reproduce their music and create a buzz around it. So wow, so he goes back out to you know, to his parents' house where his brother is and stuff like that, and it starts to evolve from there. This guy comes in and he's saying, you know, this is Chris Messin, or whatever his name is, and starts, you know, hey, this is what we're gonna do. And so what happens is we start seeing a flashback to the 70s. Him when he's 15 years old, his relationship with his family, brother, wife, or mother, and father. The music, you know, how that all started. He got a little side relationship with a girlfriend at that time, which is, I don't know, either underplayed or useless, I'll say. And so that's how it all evolves. They want to create this big buzz around the album and, you know, get them to play out in public and all that kind of stuff that you would expect. From a relaunch of an album, but it brings back old memories and everything that they went through, you know, during that time, and then their relationship as a family, as I mentioned. So it's for me it was a little dry, you know, and I caught myself going on my phone every now and again, but it was interesting and I enjoyed it in the beginning also. Like, there's parts, and I don't know if this was done on purpose, but, like, the music overtook the voices, so you couldn't hear what they were saying. It was only in the beginning I noticed it, and then there was another part I noticed it at. Might have been for effect, because it didn't happen throughout the entire movie, but I did notice I was going to stop it and say that, but I soldiered on here and kept it going and watched it all the way through. But it's less about the music and more about the relationship and the emotions. And I wasn't crazy about the music, and I was thinking to myself, like, Almost Famous, right? Like, that was another movie about a band trying to make it, and a little different circumstances. I'm not comparing the two, they're just movies about music, but the soundtrack in that one was great, and had a lot of drama. This, I don't know. So, anyway, that's what I'm kind of, preparing you for. Is really, it's more about, it's less about the music and more of the impact that music had on these people's lives. Okay, so with that all said, and Noah Jupe plays the younger Casey. Now I can see their credits on the screen, so I don't know. There's a point where it turns for me. Let me say that. So I'm liking it. You like the hope, the potential, everything that's going on. Looking back, learning more, the depth of the characters. But then there's a turning point for me that it was just like, gets to a cringeworthy point, like you could see with all the bands. Even Almost Famous, same kind of, all these bands. And I think about myself, like, if I had this type of talent, would I be in similar ways, like in whatever, artistic differences, if you will. So, and that kind of soured it for me for the rest of the movie. And it's an actual, it's purposefully done, and that's what it was supposed to do. But I don't like the way that I felt after that happened. If that makes sense. So, so that's it. Yeah, I thought they were all good in it. I thought the story was told well for the mood that you were supposed to be put in for this movie. I think they accomplished that. I'm sure they wanted me like that, but not what I was looking for, if you know what I mean. So that's it. I do want to say one more thing because I feel odd about it, but I'm gonna say spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out if you thought my review interested you enough. But if you have seen it or you don't care about it, I'm not going to ruin the ending. I'm just going to change a little. Just want to ask. Anyway, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. So they build up to this one concert, right? And they have this one concert, and you understand what happens. And this is the turning point for me, right? When he goes off. He goes off in this one point, and it's the cringeworthy part where I was like, whatever. And I might have lost sight, but I really didn't, because I went back and rewound it and I saw everything that happened, but they don't show how, okay, nothing's going to move forward. They don't show any of that. Like, really, like somebody calls and says, sorry, it's not going to work out. I don't know, something like that, but nothing ever happens, and the movie just goes forward with the assumption of that. And I, again, probably done on purpose, but for me, I wanted to, and it had me holding out hope. Hey, you want to do one more show? Well, what's that for? Is there a chance? Is somebody going to show up at the bar? Why wasn't he at the bar? The guy, the producer, or whatever he was. He seemed like whatever. I don't know. So that was the turning point. That ruined me, and then it didn't loop back for me enough to be like, hey. But again, this is based off a true story, so this is probably closer to what happened than what I wanted to happen in the movie. So there you go. I don't know if I'm helpful or not, but wanted to share that with you because it made me feel odd as well. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. Kimmel's Irish Pub.